Hey everyone, HardlyBriefDan here with another part of my free course on the basics of Unreal Engine 5 using blueprints. The previous section, which is linked above, was focused on interacting with objects, such as a switch that we created that disables our puzzle obstacles. Please check that out if you're just joining in on the series. In this section, we will create a goal location for the player to reach to actually complete the puzzle. As always, you can enroll and take the full course today and for free on Udemy. You can also get access to my free ebook on the fundamentals of programming by signing up on my website. All of those links are in the description below. So let's jump into this section and build our location for our puzzle game prototype. So in this section, we're going to create the goal location, which is a pretty simple blueprint actor. So we're going to come to our content drawer. In our blueprints folder, I'm going to right click, blueprint class, actor. I'll type BPA underscore goal location. Double click to open it up. I'm going to dock the window, compile and save. And now what I'd like to do is create some sort of static mesh, which could be a cube, shape, or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is click components and hit static mesh. This way I can use in my details panel, I can actually assign the static mesh that I want. So if I click the drop down box, you can scroll through this list, find an object you want to represent our goal location. In this case, I'm going to choose a pillar, which is just a big post. Pretty simple. But what we are going to do is add a light to it. So I'm going to click add, type in point light. I'm going to change the color to purple. Click OK, compile and save. Go back to our third person map. Click our content drawer, drag it out into the world. You can see this is our goal location. I'm going to put it up here, and you can see our light isn't in a great spot. So what I'll do is go back into our goal location and drag our light up to maybe about the middle, compile and save, go back, and you can see now that there's a faint glow around the object, and that's because our point light is producing the light from the middle of the object, but that will work for this case. We are going to come back into our location. I'm going to highlight the static mesh, and I actually want to make it just a tad bit smaller, so I'm going to say 0.5. which will shrink it in half, compile and save. Looks a little bit better to me now. Going to click our point light. I'll set it right there in the middle. And the next thing we want to do is create a collider. The collider is going to register when the character collides with or around the pole. So we're going to hit add. We'll type in box collision. You can see if I zoom in, we have our orange collider there at the bottom. And now what I want to do is drag it up to about the middle. I'm going to hit R on my keyboard again to scale it up. We'll scale it up. I'm going to do the same on all the sides. And a good way to check this is if we go to perspective, you can go to top-down view. You can see the outline of it. I'm going to click the red just to make it more of an even-sized box. You can also do this with the numbers on the left-hand side, or the details panel. Compile and save. Change our view back to perspective so we can see it. And I'm going to go into our event graph, where we're going to click the box collider in the components and scroll all the way down, again using that same on component begin overlap event. Press the plus button. We can now check to see if our player is going to overlap. So I'm going to grab on actor. We'll say cast to third person character. And if our character collides with this object, overlaps this box collider we just created, then we're going to print a statement. And I clicked print string on this case, but you can use print text or print string. And we'll say character reached goal location. Compile and save. And now it's in our game world. So we're going to test it out. We're going to run our character up here, and we should collide with our collider and see character has reached a goal location. So we'll press play. I'm going to run my character up here. And you can see character has reached goal location. Now, it might not be super obvious, but I'm going to try to show you a bug that we have and that we'll fix in the next lecture. But if I run my player up, you're going to see characters reach goal location twice. And that's because it's picking up both colliders that we have on our character. It's picking up the interaction collider we created and the capsule collider. So in the next lecture, we're going to look at how we can actually fix that to eliminate that problem for both our tornado and our goal location. So I mentioned at the end of the previous lecture that we have a problem with our colliders. So I'll press play and demo it again. When I run into our tornado, we're actually going to call the apply damage function twice because our character has two colliders on it. So when I overlap with the box collider of the tornado, it's reacting to both colliders. So I'm going to jump into it, and you can see at the top left that we've died twice and it subtracted our health. I'm going to press play. We're going to do it one more time just so you can see it. Again, we died, health is 0, and then it goes to negative 100. So what we need to do is fix this because it's not the behavior that we want. We only want it to interact when our capsule collider interacts with these two objects. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click our tornado in our outliner. I'm going to click Edit BPA Tornado. It's going to take us to our object. I'm going to highlight the tornado collider object in our components hierarchy. We're going to scroll all the way down, and under collision, you have collision presets. We're actually going to click this and change it to custom. I'm going to click ignore all, so it will ignore everything. And then for pawn, we're going to click overlap. Click compile and save. And what this will do is that now this tornado collider, which is the big box collider we have around our tornado, will only call overlap events for pawn objects, which is our character, and not the collider that we created. So let's do this again for goal location, and then I'll show you the character script to show you what I mean a little bit more. So we'll come back into our BPA goal location. You're going to highlight the box collider, which again is our orange collider that we created around the box. We will scroll in the details panel, and we're going to look for the same thing, collision presets under collision. We're going to click custom, ignore all, and then overlap per pawn, compile and save. Let's go to our content drawer, content, third person, blueprints, third person character. And this orange collider is our interaction collider and the capsule collider. And we wanted to make sure that when our player collides or overlaps with the collision on our tornado and our goal location, that we're really only detecting the player itself and not these other colliders. And our player is considered a pawn, which is just a implementation of the actor class. And that's all part of the Unreal Engine's gameplay framework, which is in the ebook if you'd like to read a little bit more about that. So what we've done again is we've set up our tornado and our goal location to only look for the pawn object for overlap events. So now if I compile and save, make sure compiled save on all the files we edited. We'll go back to our third person map, I'll press play, and now when I collide with our tornado, we should only see damage event applied once, and our character has died once. And you can see that player has died, 0 health. Perfect. Okay, so we fixed the bug with our colliders. We've added a goal location, and we can detect on overlap events. If I press play, we can test that out. I'm going to run our character up to our pole, and we can see character has reached the goal location. So that's good and all, but again, part of what we want to do is add feedback to the player and then tell our player that they've actually won and maybe play some sound. So we're going to add that functionality to our goal location. We're going to go into our BPA goal location script, or excuse me, our blueprint file. And on the overlap event, when we say character has reached goal location, we want to do two things. We want to play a sound. So I'm going to say play sound 2D. I'm going to click the asset and we're going to do camera shutter. I'll play it. That's the sound effect we're going to play when we reach. And then we want to add a widget to the screen that says player has completed puzzle. So we're going to click our content drawer. We'll go to our content, our widgets folder. I'm going to hit Control C and V to duplicate our death text. I'm going to click the one that says death text 1. Right click and hit rename. And we're going to call this win text. So UW win text. Double click to open it up. Instead of player has died, in the hierarchy here on the bottom left, I'm going to click text player has died, and we're going to say player has won. And we will change the appearance to like a green color. Click OK, compile and save. Now, back in our goal location, off the play sound 2D pin, we're going to say create widget. We've used this before. And we're going to select the UW win text. And then off the return value pin, I'm going to say add to viewport. So once we win, we will play a sound effect. We will display our widget. We then want to wait. Let's do a delay of, I don't know, let's say 2 seconds. And we're going to use the same way to reset a level called open level by name. And we'll say third person map. Compile and save. Let's talk through this event. So when our player overlaps, we're going to, well, when an object overlaps with this goal location, we're going to check to see if it's the player. If it is the player, we're going to output some string to the screen that says, hey, our player has reached the goal location. We're going to play a sound effect, and then we're going to display a widget on the screen that says the player has won. We're going to wait 2 seconds, and then we will reset the level. So let's compile and save and test this out. Let's make sure everything works. I'm going to deactivate our obstacle. In 4 seconds, it should turn back on. It's back on. And now I'm going to run into here. Player has won, and we reset our level. So everything is working intended. All of the parts for our puzzle are in place. In the next section and the couple lectures, we're actually going to build out the puzzle that we designed at the very beginning of this course to put everything together. I'll see you there.